Hey everybody, welcome to Truck Universe. I'm Matt Steele.
And I'm Buzz Thompson.
Today we're putting on the Big Hoss bundle from Gale Banks Engineering on this brand new Dodge.
Well, it's an 06 Mega Cab, and the Big Hoss bundle is awesome. You get an exhaust system, an intake, a new intercooler, even a PDA.
And we're going to check out some more cool stuff that Gale Banks is putting together. It's all coming up today on Truck U.
All right.
Get this out of your way.
Got
You
it.
good?
Yep.
All right, the next thing we had to do was get the stock intercooler out of the way, and that is also part of the Big Hoss bundle.
Well, one of the things I like about Gale Banks' system here is that it's all designed to work together. Every single component in the Big Hoss bundle that we're putting in is designed and optimized for each other. You know, you can go out and buy an exhaust system from somebody, and you can go buy an intercooler from someone else, but it's possible that you could get reductions in horsepower by adding someone else's component to someone else's component.
Right.
You get the picture.
Yeah, it's all about compatibility. Now, we started, like you said, with the exhaust back there. The Monster exhaust, 4 inches, stainless. We went with kind of a dual exhaust look just because it looks great, man. But that is a real good one back there. Less restriction, man. That's the name of the game.
In fact, it's 74% less restriction than the stock exhaust. That's a big deal.
Hey, another thing right there, we went with these tips right here. All new tips. You take a look at that. Same great performance with a brand new look from Banks, man. It's great. So that's a great looking system. But again, that brings us back up here to the front where we can kind of compare the new versus the old.
Well, yeah, check it out. Now, the new intercooler is called the Technicooler from Gale Banks. And you can see right off the bat, it's taller,
Yep.
and it's wider, and the size of the inlets and outlets is significantly different.
Yeah, take a look at that,
It
man.
just flows more air.
And you know, there's a significant temperature change going on right here, too. The air coming out of the turbocharger is about 400 degrees, and this is going to knock it down to about 150.
That's a 250-degree difference in air temperature. Now, air temperature plus pressure gives you density. Density is more oxygen. The whole point of the intercooler is to give us more air density. When you add the Technicooler to your Dodge pickup, it's like giving a bigger engine inside your truck.
It's all bigger and better with the Big Hoss bundle. Now all we have to do is get this in there, right?
That's right. Let's take these rubber mounts off.
Next subject, right back over here to the Technicooler, Buzz.
Right, we've already got it installed, and if you look at it, it almost looks like it's factory. You can't even tell that we've put an aftermarket part in.
The great part about this whole entire system is you don't have to chop anything and you don't have to cut anything.
No, there's no rebuilding at all. You just put the parts in where the factory parts go, and it just fits right in place.
Right, now look at all this stuff right here, Buzz.
Yeah, well, you got to imagine, this is a radiator, and the part in front of it, the condenser for the air conditioner, it's also a type of radiator.
Right.
Behind that is the transmission cooler, and behind that is what we all refer to as a radiator, but every single one of these radiates heat. Now, they're all made of aluminum, which is a highly conductive metal, so as heat travels through them and you're driving down the road, the air flows over them. There's all these small little fins in there that increases the surface area and removes heat from these components.
Dude, there is a lot of stuff going on at the front of these vehicles.
Sure, you get in an accident nowadays, you want to know why it costs so much, it's because of all this.
Yeah, that pretty much that explains most of it, right? Well, now that that's in place, all we have to do is go back in here and plumb this thing.
Gale Banks provided us with all the plumbing that we need to run from the turbo to the new intercooler and from the intercooler to the engine. They even included this brand new high ram casting inlet.
That's
Now,
nice.
if you compare it, this is the stock one we've pulled out, and this is the new one from Gale Banks. Now, this actually takes advantage of all the extra amount of air that travels through the intercooler and gets it into the engine with less restriction.
So not only is it going to work better, but it also looks better, man. They have thought of everything, which is great. So
Well, I
let's
like
get
it
that.
looking better. It sort of reminds me of the Buzz part, and that's the matte part. So we're going to take the matte out and put the Buzz in.
Okay, whatever. Well, we need to go to break, but when we come back, we'll keep working on this Big Hoss bundle. And I think Buzz has those two mixed up.
Oh, no, that's the way it goes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You need to look at the manual or something. Now we've got to get to work on the Ram Air intake up here in the front, which once again is going to go right into the stock location. It's great. The object, the thing that we want to accomplish today with all of this is to get as much cool condensed air into the system as possible.
We sure do. Now, Gale Banks provided us with an intake part of this package. Well, a lot of guys have cold air intakes. Nothing new. You've seen them before on the show.
Oh, yeah.
But this is a very large filter. Has a lot of surface area. Well, we've seen filters this large before as well, but you'll see that they'll restrict the outlet to 4 or 5 inches. Well, then you can't take advantage of all this surface area. Well, Gale Banks put a 7-inch outlet on the outside of this filter. I mean, it's definitely going to get a whole gulp of air in the engine.
Exactly. Bigger is better in this case, and it's going to be gulping up that air. And like we said, the next step in the whole process is to deliver that air into the turbo back
Right.
there.
Now, once you deliver all this extra air to the engine, you need to think about managing the fuel.
And that is where this comes in. We're talking about the 6-gun tuner right here.
Well, Gale Banks understood that there were 3 different methods for adjusting the fuel parameters inside of the engine. If they want to adjust the fuel, there's 3 things they can do. They can adjust the pulse width, which is the amount of time that the injector runs for, and you can add more fuel that way.
Right.
You can adjust the fuel pressure. If you have more pressure behind the injector, when it is opened, more fuel will come out. And you can adjust the fuel timing. That determines when the fuel sprays in relation to where the piston's at in the cycle.
Now, a lot of programmers and a lot of tuners will do 1 or 2 of those, but the goal is to do all 3 of them in moderation like this one does, and that cuts down on engine damage.
Sure, there's a lot of tuners out there that only do 1 of those. You plug it in, you want to turn it on the boost, it adjusts pressure only. Well, if you turn up the pressure too much, you can have really damaging results inside the engine. If you were to run the pulse width too long, you can have damage to the engine. And we always talk about EGTs on diesels. That's the #1 indicator of damage inside the engine. If your exhaust gas temperatures get too high, you can mess the thing up. Gale Banks moderates all 3 to stay in touch with all of them and keep it safe.
Now, the key to all this is monitoring your system, right? And how do you do that? Well, this system has a really cool way to keep an eye on everything.
All right, these go here.
This is the Vehicle Command Center, and it's hooked right into the 6-gun tuner, and it is awesome. The tuner's all hooked in. It's plug and play, nice and easy to use, right? That thing is mounted and ready to roll, and like I said before, this is how we're going to keep an eye on everything right here. Now, the top 2, EGTs and boosts, they're going to stay constant all the time. They're not going to change because they're very important. These bottom 2, engine and transmission temperature, that's what we've picked right now, but if I want to change that, I just go right in here, I go to Gauge Setup, and then I can toggle through about 15 options, and I can pick whichever other 2 I want to do. So that's nice and easy. Take a look at this too. I'm on power band 4 right now. Let's say I want to change that down to 3, down to 2, down to 1 with the click of a button. It's just that easy to do. It's great. Now let's say I take the wife out to dinner, right, and I give the keys to the valet. I'm going to put this bad boy not on power #6. No, not at all. I'm going to back it down to #1. That way he doesn't go tearing around the corner at the end of the night after he's got my keys. That leads to bad situations. Now, here's another cool thing. It's a PDA, right? You've got phone numbers. You've got all kinds of information for your business and everything stored on this. And don't forget the anniversaries. We don't want to forget those. This can keep you out of a lot of trouble, and it can keep your truck running great as well. Back to Truck U. The Big Hoss bundle is completely installed, and this truck's ready to roll, man. But let's take a look at another available upgrade.
Right, the guys over at Banks figured out there are extreme conditions when you might need an upgrade such as this. This is a billet steel torque converter. Now, they know that if you're drag racing your truck, or if you're hauling a bunch of heavy stuff, 20 head of cattle or a bunch of race cars or something, you're going to come under the conditions that are going to hurt the stock torque converter. That's the weak link. If you add 126 horse or 290 foot-pounds of torque, like this kit does, you're going to come up with a problem. So, they've had a solution. Now, here's the stock torque converter. You can see where they've welded on the bolt points here. Now, those points create heat that are detrimental to a stock torque converter. But look at this thing. Solid billet steel. When they bolt this thing down, they don't have to worry about any heat or any damage. And the clutch inside is a multi-disc clutch as well.
Looks good, man. Well, we'll look into that for the future, but right now, it's time to take this out for a test drive, dude. Let's go.
You got your license back?
Man, the lawyer said not to mention that either, Buzz. Come on.
You know, one of the things I noticed right away, I drove the truck before we put the Big Hoss bundle in, and I mean, it was no show pony. It would get up and go.
Right.
But now, it's absolutely incredible. All I have to do if I want to break the tires loose is hit the gas pedal. It didn't do that before.
And like we said, it's real easy to change it, too. You just touch your levels up and down, no problem.
Matter of fact,
go faster?
Let's go speed loader right now. Hold on.
Do it. Jeez. Man, this is awesome, dude.
That is incredible.
It's a little scary with you driving, but it is awesome with the power.
You'll be all right.
You're talking about significant horsepower gains.
So, well, this truck weighs about 8,000 pounds. It's 21 feet long. It's 8 feet wide and 7 feet tall. It came stock with about 325 horsepower. That's no joke. It has about 600 foot-pounds of torque. In the speed loader mode, this thing's got an extra 125 horsepower and 290 foot-pounds of torque. That puts us somewhere in the range of 450 horse and 900 foot-pounds of torque.
You know, really the cool thing about it is it's not going to damage your motor either. This system is all designed to work together, so that is great.
Yeah, and I've been keeping an eye on the transmission temperature, making sure the torque converter's all right, and I've also been checking on EGTs. We've been getting on it a lot, and everything seems to be in safe levels. This is great.
If it can handle the abuse that Buzz puts it through, then it's going to hold up to pretty much anything. But
that is a true test, isn't it?
Yes, it's like the ultimate test. Hey, we need to get back, man. We got more to do.
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to get back to the shop. We're going to take a break. I'm going to hang on for my life, and we'll be back with more Truck U.